Hello and welcome to pmslounge.com. Today we are talking about canceling a sprint. Can you actually cancel a sprint? And this video is actually a result of one of the questions that I received on YouTube in a comment about how to handle issues when you have an ongoing sprint. And I really loved that question, and I'll share that question in the upcoming slide as well. So stay tuned. Before we go there, I'd like to remind you that we do Lounge Fever series, which is our name for FAQs. We answer your FAQs in the Lounge Fever series that we have done for all topics. And this is Lounge Fever series for Agile, all questions related to Agile. So first link in the description will be a playlist of all the videos that we have done so far on your frequently answering your frequently asked questions related to Agile. Second link will be a playlist of all the topics of Agile that we have covered so far. And it's an ever growing list. If you watch this video 6 months down the line, it is possible that we would have covered all Agile topics. These Agile topics are going to help you cover the Agile aspect of the PMP exam, and these videos are also going to help you if you're preparing for your PMI-ACP certification. So second link in the description, check that out, the entire playlist. Also, third link is specific to PMI-ACP. We have created some videos which are related just to PMI-ACP. So all the Agile topics plus those exclusive PMI-ACP videos, if you're interested in that, check out the third link in the description below. So those are the three important links that you should consider looking at. Now let's get started and answer the question. So let's take a look at the question in question here. We know that all Scrum events have a time box, and this is something that we discussed in one of our previous videos, how all Scrum events have a time box. I'll share a direct link to that video, fourth link in the description. You can check that out. So all the events in Scrum, they have a time box. A dedicated time is basically allotted for all the Scrum events. Now, each sprint can be, let's say, a 30-day time box. They can be a 14-day time box. They can be a 3-week time box. It depends, right? But let's say each sprint is a 30-day time box. Now, during the course of the sprint, the team discovers an emergency situation or some other issue that needs to be looked into urgently, of course. Does the team wait for the time box to end? So you are, let's say, you have a 30-day time box for a sprint. On the 20th day, you're still working on the sprint. The team is still working on the sprint. They are on day 20, and that's when they discover that there is an emergency situation or there is some other urgent issue that needs to be looked into. What does the team do then? Now, the reason I love this question so much is because it is talking about real life projects. This is exactly what real life Scrum Masters and real life Agile project managers deal with. You're working on a sprint, but on the 20th day, on the 15th day, you have a customer escalation. You need to fix something urgently, right? So, do you wait for the 30-day time box to end? Well, let's find out in the remaining of the video, but I hope that you do understand the importance of a question like this. This is a real life situation. This is not your, textbook scenario. And these are the questions that you should kind of look into when you're preparing for your PMP or PMI ACP exam, because the exam is not just about learning something that's in the book and clearing it, right? You need to become a good project manager. You need to become a good agile project manager when you're when preparing for such certifications. So let's look at what we would do in a situation like this. So in order to answer this question, we should answer another question, and that is, what is our main aim? You as a project manager, what is your number one priority? Is it simply completing projects and kicking it out of your door, kicking it off your to-do list? What is your number one priority? Is it just getting a PMP or a PMI ACP certification and claiming a promotion maybe, or a salary hike maybe. What is your main aim as a project manager? Your number one priority is to deliver value. Deliver projects that basically provide value to the customer, provide so much value that they are willing to pay for it, provide so much value that they are willing to stay with your organization, provide so much value that they look forward to the next release of your product, to the completion of your project, to the end of your sprint. So your main aim as a project manager is to deliver value, and it is not to introduce red tapeism in the name of process. So just because you are working on a sprint, a 30-day sprint, and on the 20th day you have an escalation to deal with, and your Scrum team should ideally be looking into that uh, escalation, looking into that issue, you should not talk about process, and you should not say that, hey, it's just the 20th day of the sprint, let's complete the sprint, let's reach the 30-day milestone of the sprint, complete this sprint, and then look into that issue. That is not what you as a project manager should be doing. What is of value in this scenario? The value here is to sort out the customer issue, is to resolve the issue that the customer has, is to basically take care of the escalation that your team has received. So how do you do that? How do you actually deliver value in a scenario like this? Right? Your 30-day sprint, you are in the midst of it, and you have received an escalation, you have received an emergency issue. What do you do next? How do you actually deliver value? Let's take a look at that. Before we go there, a quick reminder, please hit the like button. That seems to be the only way YouTube is going to let you know every time we upload new content. So this is where your product owner is going to step in, and you as an agile project manager, you as a scrum master, can actually influence and ask the product owner to step in. What you can do is, product owner has the authority, and that is why you need to influence if he's not already stepping in. Product owner has the authority to cancel the sprint before the time box is over. So in your day 20, you realize that your development team, your engineering team needs to look into a customer escalation, needs to look into an urgent issue. You can go over to the product owner, you can make case of canceling a sprint. You can tell the product owner that our main aim is to provide value, and it doesn't make sense to have the customer waiting for 10 more days just because we are in the midst of a sprint. So product owner needs to step in, and product owner needs to cancel the sprint. What happens after that? So there is some due process to be followed here. What happens after that is, once the sprint is cancelled, you still need to do a sprint review. And in this sprint review, you are going to review all the items that are done, as well as the ones that are placed back into the product backlog. So you already know, in a sprint, the team is working on a sprint backlog. Sprint backlog items come from the product backlog. Now, of course, if you're not able to complete all the items in your sprint backlog because your sprint is being cancelled, you put those items back into the product backlog. And whatever that you have already completed, they are good to be reviewed. So you do a sprint review as well, even after your sprint is cancelled. And before I let you go, I just wanted to mention how, we've talked about canceling the sprint, but you should not take this casually. Canceling a sprint is not business as usual. In fact, canceling a sprint should be treated as a one-off rare situation. It is not the norm. You should not be canceling the sprint just because there is an escalation. You should also consider if the customer can wait. You should also consider if it makes more sense, if it's more valuable to complete the sprint than to resolve an issue, right? So you should understand the fact that canceling a sprint is a rare situation. It is not the norm. It is not something that you should look forward to. You can think of it as the last resort. If the building is on fire and you need to break glass, that is the kind of situation where you actually cancel a sprint. And why do we say so? Because canceling a sprint can demotivate the team, right? Because it wastes a lot of energy. You're working on your time box, you're doing your daily sprint, people are all glued in, they are working together as a team, and they are trying to reach the goal of the sprint, right? But in the midst of all of this, you cancel a sprint, it is definitely going to demotivate the team. So that is something that you should consider. Another thing that you should consider is how it is going to increase distrust on Scrum, the entire Scrum itself, especially in an already hesitant organization. So if you work in an organization that has been following the traditional waterfall methods of delivering project, and you are the one who have introduced Scrum, who have introduced Agile, and then you're canceling sprint left, right, and center, this is definitely going to increase distrust on the Scrum way of dealing with projects. And this could also result in the overall loss of confidence in the effectiveness of Scrum and Agile. So you should consider all these points. And like I said, canceling a sprint is a rare situation. It is your last resort. If you're looking for PMP book recommendations, preparing for your PMP exam, and you need some recommendations, you can head over to pmclounge.com/resources. We keep this page up to date at all times, so check it out. So that's all that we had in this video. I hope you got value out of it. Please smash that like button and let us know. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Hit the bell icon to stay notified every time we upload new content. Also, don't forget to check out the website pmclounge.com. It is your #1 free PMP and project management resource. Thank you and have a nice day.